Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily news updates with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: Tanzania's opposition calls for mass protests against President John Magufuli's election victory, which it says was fraudulent. South Africa's Democratic Alliance Party elects John Steenhuisen as its new head. Ivory Coast's ruling party warns opposition leaders against post-election unrest as the opposition is calling for a civilian transition following Saturday's vote. Our top story today: Tanzania's President John Magufuli won a resounding election victory on Friday amid allegations of irregularities by the opposition. Magufuli, in office since 2015, was declared the winner of the presidential election with 84% of votes, defeating his main rival, opposition leader Tundu Lissu, who only garnered 13% of the vote.
From the depth of my heart, I would like to thank all my fellow Tanzanians for the trust they had in me and my vice president by electing me for a second term. This will be our last term in office, our second and last term. Let me take this opportunity to assure all my fellow Tanzanians that I will serve them all, regardless of their political parties, religion or tribes. I am a president to all.
President Magufuli's Chama cha Mapinduzi party also took 97% of the 264 elected parliament seats during Tanzania's 2020 general election, which took place last week.
We cast our votes in a peaceful way. We also witnessed Tanzania receive the results in a peaceful way. This has proved to the world that Tanzanians are matured when it comes to elections and democracy. But we have also proven to the world that Tanzanians love peace. Now that the election is over, it is time to go back to work.
We have seen that the election went very well and was organized in peace, security, and in the unity of the people of Tanzania. So we are congratulating the people of Tanzania and all political parties which participated in the general elections for the effort of keeping peace.
People in the capital city, Dodoma, reacted on Saturday to Magufuli's landslide re-election as head of the country.
I'm happy with the results announced due to the fact that the election was free and fair. So the results that have been announced by the NAC make me happy. We got the right president whom we wanted to lead us into the next 5 years. My expectations in his remaining 5 years is to see John Pombe Magufuli continue with the good work he started in his last regime, and also for him to fulfill all the promises he gave during his campaigns.
I am really excited with the victory of Magufuli. He got this big victory because of the good and hard work he did in the past 5 years when he was in power. I personally am proud of him since he is a hard-working leader. That's why I'm happy.
The opposition, however, on Saturday denounced unfair elections and demanded the holding of fresh elections. They called for continuous, peaceful, countrywide demonstrations as of this Monday until their demands are met. In southern Africa, South Africa's leading opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, on Sunday elected John Steenhuisen as their leader. The 44-year-old politician has acted as the party's chief in parliament, as well as the party's interim leader, since its first Afro-descendant leader, Mmusi Maimane, resigned over a year ago.
I did not run to become the leader of this party for its own sake. I'm here today because I want to take the DA to greater heights in a fight for our country, where each and every citizen has the power to build a dignified life. People want to stand on their own 2 feet as self-reliant, autonomous human beings. They want power and freedom to make their own choices and build a life they value. This is what the DA will offer under my leadership. People power, not state power.
Christine Huyssen, who secured a whopping 80% of the historic virtual vote, will lead the Democratic Alliance in the 2024 presidential election against President Cyril Ramaphosa's African National Congress Party. In Western Africa, Ivory Coast's ruling party on Sunday warned the opposition against any attempt at destabilizing the country as it rejected the results of Saturday's election, in which incumbent President Alassane Ouattara is hoping for a third term in office.
The RHDP therefore warns Mr. Affi N'Guessan and others against any attempt of destabilization through their behavior. We warn Mr. Affi and others for the use of young people by arming them. The RHDP therefore calls for the firmness of the authorities in our country and that no one is above the law. All those who put themselves outside the law, we will call on the authorities so that the law is strong. And at this precise moment, we want to deplore the deaths born of the aggressors of the opposition, sponsored by the various opposition leaders who are Mr. Affi N'Guessan, Guy Kawe, Mabry, and others.
The warning came as opposition leader and presidential candidate Pascal Affi N'Guessan on Sunday called for a civilian transition from President Alassane Ouattara's government, a day after the presidential election that the opposition boycotted in protest over Ouattara's contested bid for a third term.
Opposition, political parties and groups called for a civil transition to create the conditions for a fair, transparent and inclusive presidential election.
N'Guessan stressed that the opposition rejects Saturday's election and considers that Ouattara's mandate is over, calling for Ivorian citizens to mobilize. Meanwhile, in Ivory Coast, in the aftermath of the 10th presidential election, residents of Cocody in the commune of Abidjan commented on Saturday's election, which was marked by scattered unrest, with some citizens describing polling stations as broken and others saying that they witnessed clashes.
We at Cocody each stayed at home and others went to the polls to vote, but otherwise, on the whole, it's fine.
We have seen many broken polling stations, and I myself, who am in a neighborhood that has been gassed, I can tell you that I'm not at all happy. I went out shopping with my 2-year-old daughter, some threw tear gas which went into almost the whole neighborhood. 1-week-old children who were born were among gas. My daughter was among the gas now. I am trying to treat her, so I am not at all happy for what the officials have done.
The Ivorian police fired tear gas on Saturday to disperse protesters who demonstrated against President Alassane Ouattara's bid for a third term in the Cocody district where he went to vote.
There were problems in other towns, especially in my village Jao. There were problems here and there. They cut themselves up. There were woods on the roads. They blocked roads to prevent people from coming to vote. Abidjan here, in Blockhouse, there were problems there. There were clashes and everything. I myself was supposed to go to work yesterday. I didn't leave. I stayed. Now I'm going to work. I see the city is a bit quiet, so I'm leaving.
According to security sources, at least 2 people died in clashes during Saturday's election, which was marked by an opposition boycott over President Alassane Ouattara's bid for a third term. The country's Electoral Commission, meanwhile, released early results showing President Ouattara holding a dominant lead, which had been expected given the opposition's boycott. In Senegal, President Macky Sall on Sunday appointed a new government and decided to place members of the opposition in key roles. Among the newcomers is Foreign Minister Aissata Tall Sall, a former opponent turned ally. The president's new government has 33 ministers and 4 secretaries of state, according to a presidential decree in which 7 new members and 3 new secretaries of state were named. Presidential spokesman Seydou Gueye hailed a fresh government of openness and unity and a government of action and results. President Sall last week dissolved his 32-strong government team, which he formed in April 2019, a few weeks after he was re-elected to a second term in office. In Central Africa, Cameroon's President Paul Biya on Saturday called for the individuals responsible for the brutal attack on a school in the city of Kumba to be arrested and prosecuted. Last week, at least 7 children were killed and a dozen injured after gunmen attacked a bilingual school in the English-speaking southwest region plagued by a violent conflict between Anglophone separatists and government forces. No group claimed responsibility for the attack, which drew national and international condemnation. President Biya condemned these killings and instructed that appropriate measures be taken diligently to ensure that the perpetrators of these despicable acts are apprehended by security forces and brought to justice. The president's comments came as the nation observed a day of national mourning in honor of the victims. On the health front, the World Health Organization chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus announced on Sunday evening on social media that he was self-quarantining after someone he had been in contact with tested positive for COVID-19. He, however, stressed that he had no symptoms of the virus. The man, who has been at the forefront of the United Nations Health Agency's efforts to battle the pandemic, added that it is critically important that we all comply with health guidance to break chains of coronavirus transmission, suppress the virus, and protect health systems. That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.